Hey everyone, so we very well could find ourselves in a situation that we actually have to have online classrooms because maybe there's going to be another 2-week break because of the coronavirus or whatever reason there may be. Regardless, it's an invaluable skill to be able to teach, be able to be flexible and adaptable to teach online, and also kind of have that technology knowledge. So I'm kind of here just to discuss and cover that. I'm making the screencast here of me making a live classroom discussion just in case anybody misses it. So I'm going to put it inside this MDID presentation. So the way this is going to work is that although we do use ManageBack and everything should be submitted through ManageBack, I'm going to really focus more on Google as kind of like my ecosystem of apps, primarily because they all sync really well together. And then we're eventually going to link it all back to ManageBack so that the school has it on record. So you're going to see a list of 4 things in front of you that we're going to be doing. But before I do that, I just want to kind of bring up again, anytime you're screencasting or anytime you're doing a video recording, there's typically always a function on the video screen, such as my bottom right part of the screen face. You can kind of see the 3 different button layouts to either show your whole face, show just a part of you in the corner, or just have you with no face. It comes down to your preference for what you like. Depending on what I'm presenting on, I'd like to either show my face so that I can kind of simulate or interact something with my hands, or just not show my face at all because, quite frankly, you probably see it too much. So it depends on your style. Just do whatever's comfortable. So to start, what we're going to do is we're going to go over Google Calendar. I'll show you how to make a conference with that. I will not actually do the conferencing while I'm on the screencast because the video frequencies collide and my screen gets messed up. So I'm not going to actually go through with that. I'm going to discuss that in person with everybody about how to join a conference, and we'll practice a little bit during a meeting. I'll show you just kind of like publicly linking Google Docs and linking slides, etc. It's really easy, and then I'll show you just where I kind of put it and how I put it back and manage back. So the way we're going to start, what I do with a lot of my students is I find that Google Meets or Zoom are really easy to use and kind of do video casting. So let's say I'll go to let's say March 3rd, even though it's Student Health Checkup Day. Let's say I'm going to create an event. I'm going to say live screen share / conference from home. And this is just to kind of be like, hey, we're all going to meet and get together. So what I'll do is actually, I'll say add conferencing under add location. And from here, I can click a little checkbox that says view conference details, and it will give me a meeting room ID. That is the most important thing you can share with your students. This is because they need this ID to actually enter in your virtual classroom that you're going to be sharing with them. So you need to make sure that you have this ID after you create the event. So once I create the event, I can also make it a Zoom meeting. So it's your choice. If you want to use Zoom or Google Meets, it comes down to who you are and what you want. I kind of like Zoom more. I think it's a little bit more crisp, but Google Meets is just as good. So I'm just going to click and save that. I'm not going to play with the other options. You can all see the times at which you can change. There's a lot more options that you can play with, but for right now, let's just get focused on this meeting ID. So I'll save that ID and that time, and I have this here, and I can even click on this and I can see, oh, here's my ID. I want this. So what I'll do is on ManageBack, I'll actually tell the students and say, let's meet on Google Meets, and I'll put in the code, and I'll give them an instruction. You will need to input this code later. And so that's stage 1. So they now know when I post this out and we kind of reserving a time for ourselves that they have a code to get in, which is really important. Maybe the next thing I want to do is maybe this document I want to work on with my students. I kind of just gave it like 3 little instructions for all of you to see, such as sharing documents with students, allow editing, viewer comment, and then click editing suggestion review tab. Many of you are very smart individuals. You know that when you share one document with all of your students is that you have different window options that are available. Most of us, what we'll do is we'll say the students can all view this document. Maybe you want your students working with just one document though, and that's okay. So if you want that to happen, you can click edit, or you can do comment, whatever it is. But if you want one document to work with, you can see which students are on it if you give them permission. So it just kind of comes down to your preference for what you want here. But just because I'm going to say students who have this can all view it, and I'll make sure that I click copy and I'll make sure I also share that. I can put that inside this Google Calendar event if I want. I can put it here in the details. I can click link. I put in today's assignment. And now they all know that that link is there as part of this whole ordeal. So now that my Google Calendar and my document of choice are linked together, as a teacher, I need to know the 3 view modes that are important to me. So when I want to see these links, you can see view mode, which is the final print or ready to print. Suggestions, like as a teacher, you can add in suggestions, or edit means that you edit the document directly. I would just be careful with giving students editing direct access. Just depends if you want them to do that or not. Sometimes if a student makes a copy, I make them share it with other students as well so that I can have them all in one hub. But if I give a student editing access, then they could change the whole document. All of this can be avoided if you download the Doctoctopus app, which I'm going to go over later, and I'll discuss that in detail more. So at this point, we have our Google calendar set with our document linked, and we have the Google Meets here. The other thing I'm also able to do is I can just share this link on Google Drive with my students, but for the sake of ease, I'm just going to keep this at here. What most students can do at this point is that they can actually just Google in, join Google Meets, join Google Meeting if you wish, and they can just simply click through these links and figure it out. So I could say join for me, and there's a whole like how to do this online. So I can also just click this web browser, and it says join or start a meeting. And I actually don't want to click through this because my video signal will get messed up. But when you click through this and you'll be able to put in your code, you should get a big screen with your face, and then you'll see all the students' faces popping up. This is really powerful. You can use all 25 or 20 to 25 of your students. But to be honest, I would actually recommend doing it in chunks. I would do 20-minute sessions with 5 students at a time. That kind of comes down to your preference, though, what you really want to do. So keep that in mind when kind of thinking about this and going forward. Decide if you want to do all of your kids in one giant group chat, which could turn messy, or keep it to groups of 5 and just schedule them at certain times. Decide what you want as a teacher. So that should be pretty much about it. That's how to make a Google meeting. Zoom is no different. You'll also notice in our slides that I give you guys, I make sure that you have video resources and links. There's a few down here on how to do different resources, and I think that should be it. Thanks for listening, everybody. If you're really confused about anything, I would make sure that you start knowing all this material that's here on the screen. Thanks, guys.